but if you can, we're glad that you're able to join us remotely. All right, I'll just dive in. I've got a laundry list of items that I wanted to make sure to go over. And then as usual, open it up to any questions, comments, topics you'd like to discuss. The purpose of this meeting, I guess it's a meeting. I don't know. I don't like to call it a meeting. This chat is really just to talk about whatever it is that is on your minds, and in a very informal, casual way. So even as I go through my things to get us started, if you have any questions or comments or you want to interrupt, just raise your hand or just shout out. You can throw something if you'd like to, as long as it's not too sharp. And I've got a microphone as well that we can pass around to make sure that everybody can hear each other. I apologize, some of you that are, if you are signed up, if you had added this community chat on your calendar in Cubigo or TLG Connect, you may have gotten a notification like an hour or two ago that said that it was changed or something. I apologize. There's an issue that we're trying to work through where notifications sometimes get sent out that are either, at best, they're confusing, and at worst, they're absolutely incorrect and wrong information. So we're trying to sort through all that, but I apologize for any confusion that may have caused. I've got a number of, a couple of updates actually from Human Good as an organization that I wanted to share. And some of you have probably already seen, or most of you have probably already seen these two items. But one thing is Fitch ratings, which I have to admit, this is like, this is not my area of expertise by any means. It's all accounting stuff and sort of all the stuff that's handled by much smarter people than I am at a corporate level. But Fitch is essentially the way I understand it. And if there's any accountants in the room and I say anything totally wrong, either feel free to correct me or just give me a pass because I'm not an expert. But either way, Fitch is the way I understand it. It's sort of like the credit bureau for I'm not sure what it covers, but it covers Human Good and organizations like Human Good. And they have reaffirmed the Human Good California's rating as A-, which is good. Yeah, I think that's what I thought. So so what that means in very, very general terms is, as an organization, we are stable, and financially we're in a good place. So there was a notice that went up on TLG Connect that talked about that a little bit more. Feel free to refer to that. Or if you have any other specific questions, let me know, and I'm happy to seek after the answers if there's any answers that I don't have. Not along those lines, but additionally from Human Good, some of you may have seen the notification that we are, as an organization, we're actually in the process of transitioning ownership of one of our communities to another organization. There is the smallest of the life plan communities that Human Good owns and operates is called Windsor, which is sort of confusing because there's a totally different company called Windsor that runs skilled nursing facilities. So it has no relation to that Windsor company, but it's a smaller life plan community down in Glendale, California. And the decision has been made, and all of the wheels are in motion to actually sell that community to another nonprofit organization called Ararat Home. Ararat Home is a nonprofit senior living provider, smaller than Human Good, but they've been around for quite a while, for about 60 or 70 years, from what I understand. And the decision was made to sell that community to that organization for a couple of reasons. And again, I'm not acutely aware of all of the details, nor have I sort of involved in the process, but I'll share what I know is, as I said, it's located in Glendale, California, and it's been a community that, to be frank, as an organization, we've always struggled to run successfully, both operationally, culturally, and financially. It's been the most challenging community within the organization, and so it's being sold. There's a number of approvals and licensing and regulatory process that it needs to go through in order for things to be finalized. But I think the goal is late September, October time, when they're hoping that everything's finalized. The organization that's acquiring it, Error at Home, it's an organization that specifically focuses on serving the Armenian community. And down in Glendale, from what I understand, Glendale has the highest Armenian population outside of Armenia in the world. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but it's a very large Armenian population. And so, we as an organization, we've struggled to really run that community, serve the community, as well as hopefully Error at Home will be able to do so. So that transition hopefully takes place over the course of the next few months. And it actually will be as I mentioned, it's been a tough community financially as well. So it's really been a financial burden on the organization. So I think it's a positive move for us as an organization, but also hopefully positive for that community, and having Error at Home be able to hopefully serve the residents and the team members in ways that we haven't been able to successfully do so. Any questions on that? There are no plans to sell any other communities. So yeah, I don't think there are plans, nor do I anticipate there would be any plans. So yes, Ms. Roth.
I'll keep it.
Perfect.
Having gone to numerous of the board meetings as the Northern California rep for you, it was not a quick or an easy decision. It went on and on at numerous meetings for a long time before they made the decision, and of course spoke with the community also. So it sounded like it was a well thought out, good decision. And unlike what you said about selling other communities, the main focus is to bring on more communities for Human Good.
Thank you. And on that note, I am not aware of any immediate plans to bring on any more communities, but yeah, the goal is definitely not to lose communities by any means. Thank you for that comment. All right. Let's see. So on a similar note, on August 11th, we will have our mid-year financial presentation. That will take place here in the GRA. It'll also be available virtually. And for anyone that doesn't know, for anyone who may be newer to the community, every year we do two big financial presentations. One after the close of the first 2 quarters, and then one right towards the end of the year, so before the end of the year. But in this one, what we'll do is we review basically where we stand year to date. And there's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of graphs involved. And the goal is to help all of the residents, help family members that want to join, team members that want to join, see how we're doing as a community, see how much revenue is coming into the community, how much revenue or how much is being spent on expenses, where those expenses are being allocated, and as much details as we can fit into an hour-long presentation. So everyone is welcome to join. When I first came to this community about 6 years ago, I came from the for-profit world. I had never worked in a nonprofit community. And I remember that Tyler, the executive director at the time, he was telling me that he was, getting ready for this financial presentation and that I should come and see it. And it just totally blew my mind. And I was like, wait, you're just going to put your financial reports up for everybody to see? He was like, yeah. And coming from the for-profit world, there was stuff that me as an executive director running a community, like I didn't even know, and they didn't even share with me. And so it was such an impactful moment for me to realize one of the big differences between working for and being a resident of a for-profit community versus a nonprofit community. And anyway, so we encourage everyone to join again, August 11th. And it'll be interesting because, as we all know, as a community, as an organization, as an industry, and frankly, as a world, right, we are facing challenges like we haven't seen for a very, very long time. And so we'll get into some of those details of past 6 months and sort of what we can anticipate moving forward. And yes, there's challenges, but we're still strong. We're strong as a community. We're stable as an organization. And anyways, I look forward to that presentation coming up in a couple of weeks. COVID, you want to talk about COVID? It's still a thing. It sucks, we wish it would go away, but it's still here. We have one resident currently that is positive with COVID, and a handful of team members. What's really been more noticeable recently is the sort of indirect impacts of it. We've got a lot of team members who have family members that are sick. And so then that creates challenges, either the family members staying home and quarantining, or it creates challenges with children and childcare, which impacts a team members' ability to always come in. And we're also seeing some challenges with vendors and contracted partners that we're working with that are, we're without getting into specifics, but if we're working with a specific vendor for something and then boom, that person gets COVID, then it sort of delays everything. So there's a lot of things that are sort of behind the scenes work that's being done that is just taking longer and longer than we would like. But we are continuing to plug along, and fortunately, cases are back down and they're low, and hopefully will remain low at least for a decent period of time. But we anticipate we'll continue to see this for quite some time. Mr. Barish, and there's a microphone there.
As the terraces tracking long COVID, are there people who've been infected that remain with symptoms even though they test clear, both on the employee side and the resident side?
That's a good question. And I know this has come up, and I apologize that I don't have concrete information on it right now. But we've seen a few, but actually very few sort of repeat cases. Someone that would have COVID and be cleared and then eventually test positive again. What we're seeing though is some of the cases currently, more so than in the past, are taking a little bit longer to clear. It seems like residents or team members are potentially having symptoms longer than what we had previously seen, although the symptoms are overall more minor compared to what we saw, a year or two ago. There have been some reports, and we've seen it with a few residents and team members of Paxlovid, which is the treatment for COVID, where there's sort of a reemergence shortly after the individual has seemingly been cleared. So we've seen a few cases like that. I'm not aware of any, sort of severe cases of long COVID. I'm not aware. Susan.
I didn't hear you say, you said one resident, but you didn't say in which area?
One resident in residential living. You're welcome. Any other COVID related questions? Yes, Ms. Jacobs. Which new fellow? Dining services. All right, let's get into it. Dining services. Everything's great and there's no problems whatsoever in dining services. Thanks, everybody. That's it. That's all we've got time for. So Jeremy, who is our anticipated director of dining services, was anticipated to start last week. And as most of you are probably aware, he has not started yet. There have been some delays in the pre-employment requirements that has not allowed him to get started yet. There has not been any final decisions made yet, but we are coming to the realization, or we understand that it may not pan out with Jeremy. And so we are, although we're not officially moving on from him as a candidate, we are exploring potential alternate options. So hopefully everything will work out and clear, and he's ready to go. But we just need to get there's just a series of steps that are regulatory steps that need to be taken, and there's some delays. So I don't have any more details than that, other than as soon as we have more concrete information, we will share. I know that our dining services experience is, I don't know, anyone else want to think of a word to use?
Lacking.
Lacking, that's a pleasant word. It's terrible. It's terrible. Our team members are working very, very, very hard under very challenging circumstances, and quite frankly, where we are in terms of our staffing and consistent leadership, the team members are doing the absolute best they can, but they're not. I mean, we don't have the leadership, we don't have the support, we don't have the we don't have what we need to make the program what it needs to be, what it should be, and what all of the residents deserve. And we are working very closely with our partners at Morrison to work out interim plans that are better than what we have been doing, because we need to do better than what we have been doing. And then also making some long-term strategies for permanent solutions. And I'm sorry for the state of dining services right now. It's the best I can say, unfortunately.
Since we're on dining, at one of the dining committee meetings, I asked Switch, what is the status of the doors between the main dining room and the quote private dining room? And he had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. So he said he would follow through, and Gina said she would follow that, because it would have been a perfect time with the dining room closed for them to finally finish the job. I was wondering if you had any updates on that.
I do have an update on that. We were scheduled in the month of June to have, let me take a step back. So for anyone that is not aware, in the main dining room, the back sort of third or quarter of the main dining room, in the past, we had large sort of, I don't know, like sliding dividers to be able to separate that area off as a private dining room. When we went through the redesign of the dining room, due to a number of factors, we didn't do those new panels. But that was sort of planned to do after the fact, which made sense at the time. So we contracted with a company who works with a manufacturer to create and install those panels. We got notification late in the month of June as we were trying to follow up to get a date of when they would be installed, that essentially the manufacturing company completely folded. According to what we have been informed, they lost 90+% of their staff, and they essentially, although not officially closed for all intents and purposes, all of their operations came to a screeching halt. It would have been great if we had known that before we were trying to get a finalized date. But it sounds like the manufacturer wasn't necessarily being totally transparent with our contracted partner that we were working with. And so essentially that put us back to square one, which is finding an alternate manufacturer. And I don't know, I haven't gotten any updates as of any significant updates since then. I sent an email out to them a couple of days ago to ask for any updates, but I haven't gotten anything back yet. So yeah, that's where we're at. You're welcome. Yes, Mr. Clemmer. Executive chef. We have an executive chef who has accepted an offer and is going through the pre-employment requirements. And we decided to not make any official announcements until they're here in the building, to be honest. So we have somebody lined up that hopefully will be starting soon. And once things are 100% finalized, we'll make a formal announcement.
Bradley, this is a question mostly just to share the question, and the answers can come when they're available. We saw that a dietitian got additional professional certification. And in some format, we're told that there's a consultant fee if you want to interact with the dietitian. But I don't, speaking personally, I don't know the benefits and the amount of utility for the consultant fee, but I do know that dietary circumstances changes over time for residents, and just having some positive feedback on how this service has benefited residents would be very useful, because just knowing the price, that doesn't tell you the benefits, and on and on. So there's a future question.
Great.
I was just going to add, is there no initial free consult?
That's a good question. I don't actually know. We'll get some more information out. I'll get some clarification on sort of both of those issues. And then we'll put it out. We'll put some information up on TLG Connect and in the weekly updates, sort of what services are available and what the potential benefits could be. Good questions. All right, I'm going to keep going, but interrupt me as I go. Oh, there's a meet and greet today at 4 o'clock here. So as soon as we're done, no dilly-dallying. Everyone's got to get out so they can finish setting up. Or you won't get any food. So 4 o'clock here in the GRA, meet and greet to welcome new residents to the community. Also, just a couple of other things on the calendar that I wanted to make sure everyone is aware of. On Thursday mornings at 9:30, Cindy, do you actually want to? Okay, Thursday mornings at 9:30 in the sunroom in the lodge, which is, if you go upstairs to the second floor, you go out of the elevators, you turn right, and then you turn right, and then you turn left, and you go all the way to the end of the hallway, is the sunroom. And there's a meditation group every Thursday morning at 9:30. And all are welcome to attend. Meditation, I know, can potentially sound like something like, I don't know what that means. I've never done that before. Is it going to be weird? It's none of those things. If you've never meditated before, or you don't really even know what meditation means, you are still welcome and will feel comfortable and have a pleasant experience. So 9:30 on Thursday mornings. Anything else that I missed, Cindy? All right. And Cindy leads those groups. So we know that anything Cindy does is great. So Thursday is 9:30. Also, starting next week, a week from tomorrow, on Friday mornings, there will be a new aquatic exercise class in the pool. So we have an instructor that will be coming in each Friday, every Friday, 9 o'clock, out in the pool. So if you are up for it, we encourage participation. And again, all are welcome. Friday is 9:30, not tomorrow, but starting Friday after that. 9 o'clock, not 9:30. Thank you. Meditation group is 9:30 on Thursdays. Aquatic exercise class is 9 o'clock on Fridays. Interfaith, Sunday services are resuming in person. I don't know if they resumed last. I don't know if they took place last week or not. But this Sunday for sure, Sunday services are back. So 3 o'clock here in the GRA. And again, everyone is welcome. This Sunday is an interfaith service entitled Invitation to Joy. And Cindy, actually, who just stepped out, Cindy will be leading that service, I believe, this Sunday. So this Sunday, 3 o'clock. And unless otherwise indicated, there will be Sunday services moving forward at 3 o'clock here in the GRA. A couple of other upcoming things. Gavin Finkel, does everyone know Gavin? Most of you have probably met Gavin. Gavin is on our concierge team. He is a student at University of Washington. And when he's back home here in Los Gatos from school, we're privileged to have him work with us as a team member. And starting next Monday, he is an origami master. I don't know if that's the right word, but origami, the art of folding paper. And so he'll be doing a beginner's origami class every Monday at 2:30. And that's going to take place in conference room. I got to get my facts together before I start these announcements. Conference room Mondays at 2:30. Should be a lot of fun. And last but not least, in terms of upcoming events, if anybody is interested, tonight at 6 p.m., there's a virtual education seminar titled Fall Prevention for People Living with Dementia. Really, the presentation, from what I understand, is geared towards family members of those that are living with dementia. But anyone is certainly welcome, any residents, family members, team members. And again, it's a virtual seminar, and that is through Human Good. So all families, residents, team members throughout the entire organization are welcome to join. And the login information is available on TLG Connect. And one other quick mention, the Human Good Connections team, which is a group of people from various communities throughout the organization. They put together different events, and they're working on a Veterans Day tribute video. So the goal is to be able to create a video, sort of a video slideshow of all residents and team members throughout the organization that have served in the armed services. So there's information up on TLG Connect, and we would encourage any residents that are veterans. Basically, you submit a photo and your name, and I think maybe a little information. And we'd love to have as many residents and team members from the Terrace of Los Gatos represented in that video. So,
Bradley?
Yes. Yes, Judy,
I have two announcements.
please.
Monday Night at the Movies is back,
All right.
starting this Monday, and we're going to show CODA, C-O-D-A, which is a recent movie. CODA stands for Children of Deaf Adults, and it won the Academy Award this year. So we're thrilled to be able to start with something really good. The other announcement is on August 18th, the social committee is sponsoring an ice cream social, 1:30 to 3. And your fabulous foundation committee will be serving again. So please be there.
Yeah, sounds fun and delicious. So the 18th, ice cream, sponsored by the social committee, served by the foundation committee. So we appreciate those two committees collaborating to create that event. All right, I don't have anything else on my list. So what do you want to talk about? What questions do you have? Comments, feedback? Mr. Barish?
Bradley, I understand there's a new rehab team here. And the idea of how to get started in rehab as an outpatient and the things you need to know, doctor's prescription, billing, how that works. Just because the new contractor, maybe they have some new SOP. And so if we could get information on that, it would be helpful.
Thank you for mentioning that. And actually, perfect timing. Not this week, but next week in the weekly updates next week, we're going to be sharing some information that essentially what you're inquiring about, who to contact, how to contact, what's required to be able to start receiving services. So keep an eye out for that next week in the weekly updates. For anyone that may not be aware, we recently made the decision to change the partners that we're working with to provide our therapy services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, that most directly, well, I don't know, it most directly impacts the health center, as most of the caseload of the therapy team comes from the residents or patients in the health center. But they also provide outpatient services for our assisted living and independent living and memory support residents. They've done a relatively good job of building up their staffing. What took place, a kind of a little background on that is we made the decision to change providers because for a number of reasons, we weren't satisfied with our previous provider and they weren't really fulfilling what we needed from them. We issued them a 60-day notice that we were going to be transitioning services. And then they swiftly responded to our 60-day notice with a 30-day notice, which made things a little more complicated than anticipated. And so the start of the transition wasn't, to be honest, it all things considered, it went really, really well and has gone well. But it certainly didn't go as well as we would have all hoped because of that change in schedule. So they're continuing to bring more people on, more full-time and part-time therapists, which will enable them to serve more of our residents. So again, next week from tomorrow, we'll have more details in the weekly updates. Susan.
I went up there the other day because I had read in one of the information sheets that came out that some of the therapists continued with the new group and some did not. So I asked for a list of the therapists and they said they didn't have a complete list yet. They were working on it. And when they did get a complete list, they would publish it because it's helpful to know the names, see the faces. The other company did every once in a while put out some kind of a newsletter with the therapists.
That's a good, thanks for mentioning that. And we should be able to include that next week with the information that we put out. I don't know if we'll have photos of everybody, at least their names and positions. Thank you. All right, what else? What else is on your mind? Oh, go ahead.
How's the I don't know how to refer to it. How are things to spruce up the Sequoia room coming along?
They're not coming along. I don't think there's been any movement, but there can be. So let me put it on my list of follow-up items. The question was, what, if anything, has been done in planning to spruce up the Sequoia room, which is the room, kind of a meeting / multi-purpose room next to the pool. The room, the sort of cold, dark room with folding
Terrible
tables and chairs. Yeah. What else? So I was in a meeting yesterday, sometime within the last couple of days, with executive directors from the other human good communities. And one of the executive directors took a few minutes in this meeting and shared something that they had done at their community that was really, really awesome. And I was thinking about how we could do something similar here at the Terraces of Los Gatos. Over the past 2.5 years, like, we've had our fair share of bad news, right? You know, it's like all the information that we put out, it feels like it's like, all right, here's COVID, here's all the things you can't do. Here's all the problems with everything. You know, there's been a lot of bummer information that we've had to share. But what this community did is they put together, the way they did it was sort of a general community-wide meeting. They put together sort of a presentation about, I don't know exactly what they called it, but the whole purpose of the meeting was just to talk about things that have brought people joy over the past 2.5 years. Because in the midst of all of the terrible things that we've all had to live through for the last couple of years, there are certainly a lot of really positive things and positive experiences that team members, residents, and family members have had. Because, you know, even when we have challenging situations in life, there are always still things that bring us joy, whether it's, having children or having grandchildren or having great grandchildren, or, marriages, or other things to celebrate in life. Fun trips and vacations that people have been able to experience. And so they kind of put together this big slideshow and shared it with the community. And it seemed like a really great experience. And I was thinking about, could we do something along those lines? So I was thinking that maybe we just put something out to the community and said, share any experience that is sort of a moment of joy that you've had over the past few years that you wouldn't mind sharing with the rest of the community. And I don't know if that would ultimately translate into a slideshow or a video or some other kind of a format. Maybe we highlight things on TLG Connect, or highlights a moment of joy in the weekly updates each week, but something to, be able to share things that, we've experienced, and also, learn about some of the moments of joy that have been created in others' lives. Does that sound corny? Does it sound like something people would be interested in participating in? Okay. Is anyone thinking, this is a terrible idea, I hope they don't do anything like that? All right. If you do, talk to me privately. Okay, well, it's a very loose idea right now, but we'll set something up to try to create some kind of a compile some of the moments of joy that our community members have experienced over the last couple of years. Ms. Shaw, Ms. Roth.
I have been getting numerous requests from various residents about things like bocce ball
Uh-huh.
or pickleball or badminton or something that has come up at other times in the community. And I know that bocce ball is difficult because you have to really build something, but anything that just requires a net, is there any way that a net could be put up at one of the, like the spring court, something that could be taken down and put up so that it doesn't interfere with other activities, and that people could participate in something like that?
I think that sounds like a great idea. Sandy, do you want to connect with your team and explore some options? Great, thank you. Michelle.
I don't know that this is big news. There are bunnies eating the flowers in the garden. And I don't know if they're the same thing that are eating the lower tomatoes in the residence garden. But yeah, there are two bunnies, a little one that's adorable. And they don't look like somebody's pet that's been released. They look like wild bunnies. They're kind of tawny and gray with little cottontail. Yeah.
Oh,
The gardener is aware of them, but I don't know if anything's being done to relocate them. I could have caught one of them if I had a net. I just didn't happen to have a butterfly net.
you can't see it, but I have a huge smile on my face right now because I think that's absolutely adorable. But also, like, if they're eating stuff, that's a problem. But they sound so cute.
He was
So what do we
adorable.
do? Do we keep them or do we get rid of them?
Well, no, I think you are living in a private house as opposed to residential living. And I think if you wanted them, you could have them.
Oh, like I could actually take them. All right. Oh, my dog would go bananas. Just take one. Just take one and, oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be something. So they're out in like the vegetable garden area, in the rose garden?
Actually, someone spotted the larger one in the garage, and the one that I saw was going along the esplanade, the pretty flowers by the pool entrance there. And he was just going from plant to plant, eating the flowers.
I saw them out front planting new plants today. The bunnies are probably hiding around the corner, like getting excited. Can I tell you a quick funny story that's totally unrelated? So I used to live in this really small, it was like a rental unit in the backyard of somebody else's house, right? So they had a little studio basically in the back. And there was a wooden fence that went around it. So there was a little yard that we had. And there was the gentleman who was the owner of the house. He put a bird feeder out, and it was sort of near the fence, hanging from a tree near the fence that sort of created this backyard area for us. And along this fence, there were, I don't know why I'm telling you this story, but there were rats that would always run along the fence line and then eat all of the bird feed, and it was terrible because there was all these rats everywhere because of this bird feeder. But the owner of the home, like almost every day, it seemed like he was out there refilling this bird feeder, and we couldn't break it to him because he had such joy in these bird feeders. And one day we were out there, and he's like, "Oh man." He's like, "I love having this bird feeder. It seems like every day I have to refill this thing. I can't even imagine how many birds I'm feeding thanks to this bird feeder." And he was just beaming with pride about how many birds he was feeding. And it's just because the rats every night would just go in there. And anyways. So don't hang your bird feeders near fences, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so if anyone that didn't hear, the comment was, I'm sure there's someone that we could talk to that could give us some guidance on maybe something to put out in the area or plants to grow that the rabbits don't like to help move them along. So yeah, we'll look into those options and we'll figure out something to help the cute, adorable little bunnies find maybe a more appropriate home. Anything else? Yes, Ms. Campen.
I just wanted to pay a compliment to the health unit. I've had two neighbors who have had to use the facilities up there. And the spouses and family have been so thrilled with the care that they have had here. And I just thought you'd like to know that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll make sure to share that with the team up in the health center. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Anything else? Well, we will call it a chat and we'll see you next week. State of the business next week, a week from today at 3:30 here in the GRA instead of 1:30. Thanks everyone. We ended a little early, so maybe you don't have to, beat it too quickly. But anyways, again, 4 o'clock meet and greet here in the GRA. Thanks everyone.
It's a question mark with the off.